Namaste. In this video, we'll be making Araish lime plasters that gives a smooth and water resistant finish. These are also a type of plasters that were found in traditional Rajasthan buildings. Before we start with the plasters, let's first understand the two different types of lime, that is hydraulic lime and non-hydraulic lime. Hydraulic lime is basically impure lime. It has impurities like aluminates, silicates, etc. So it sets faster. It is called as hydraulic lime because the setting happens through hydration, which means after the plaster is done, initially it needs to be watered for at least 3 to 4 days for the setting process to initiate, and later it sets through carbonation. And the second type of lime, that is non-hydraulic lime, is basically pure lime. That is, it doesn't contain any sort of impurities. It is softer and it sets slowly compared to hydraulic lime. And the setting here completely happens only through carbonation. For Araish plasters, it's compulsory to use non-hydraulic lime, and here I'm using shell lime. So the first step is to do slaking. For slaking, powdered lime is added in water and let it settle, and then it has to be filtered. For the filtered lime, equal amount of marble dust is added and it has to be finely grinded. You can either hand grind it or use an electric grinder. Also remember to use either steel or plastic utensils while doing this process, else lime would react for any other metal. And now we can add some color to our plaster. We can either add synthetic colors or natural colors. I prefer using natural colors, and I wanted some light pink shade, so I'm using madder roots, which is also called as manjishta. The making of these pigments is a completely different and a lengthy process, so I'll probably make another video for this. And now it's time to apply the plaster. It has to be applied in thin coats, and always remember to hydrate the walls before applying plaster. Here I'm working with smaller areas, basically because once it is plastered, it has to be varnished. And varnishing takes a long time and it has to be completed before the plaster is completely dried. And as I'm doing it alone, I'm working around with smaller areas. Once the plaster is done, let it dry for a couple of hours and then we need to varnish. For varnishing, we need a smooth hard tool. So here I'm using stone with a smooth and an even surface. And then we need to gently rub on the wall using the stone. This process is really important for the plaster to get a smooth and a shiny finish. The longer we varnish, the more shinier finish is what we can obtain. During the process, if there are slight cracks that are appearing, extra plaster can be applied near the cracks, either using your hands or a trowel. And then you can let it dry for a couple of minutes and then varnish it over that area. And it's really important for us to remember that we are working with pure lime, and constant contact with pure lime can cause skin burns. So a very effective and easy remedy to avoid skin burns is to use castor oil. So every day, even before you start to work with lime, rub your hands with a good amount of castor oil, and then you can start working with lime. But then if you already have skin burns due to continuous usage of lime, then apply castor oil over the burnt areas and let this stay overnight. And the next day morning, before washing it off, warm the burnt areas over fire. So this is how it looks once it's completed. The plaster is extremely smooth and it's shiny. But then it probably needed more varnishing time to get a more reflective surface. But then the main intention for me to do this in the kitchen was to get a waterproof surface, and this does serve the purpose for me right now. And I would probably think of working around again with this particular patch once I have volunteers around. This was my last video on natural plasters. For more updates on our natural wall paints, stay tuned, and till then, live, love, and farm.